Hi there, welcome to another Murphy's Minutes. And today's Murphy's Minutes is coming from you yet again from a hill. It's becoming very inconspicuous that for a city that has no hills, Berlin has a lot of hills. Anyway, we're now on a hill that is, well, aptly named like actually the Müggelberg where we were and the Kreuzberg where we were. This one is called the Teufelsberg. And this is one of Berlin's sportiest mountains, because if we look down, you can see that they have a BMX track or mountain biking track, which of course, when or if we ever get snow again, will be perfect for rodeling or sledding or skiing even. This is actually the little piste for the children, and right next door is the bigger piste, which is actually a red piste, 380 meters long for the adults. Now if you see that piste, you can see it's actually quite treacherous. It's narrow, it's hilly, and it's got a lot of curves, so it's actually fun to do. Unfortunately, we don't get much snow here. Kom maar. This is actually not what this mountain is famous for, because the mountain is famous for its origin. Its origin is Trümmer. And Trümmer, of course, is the rest, the rubble of a crushed Nazi imperium. And this is where the link starts with this mountain for real, because historically this mountain was already here. It was only a mere 40 meters high, which is a lot less, of course, than the 120 meters it is now. But I'll show you here. Follow me. So I'm already out of breath and we're only halfway up the mountain. Now if you continue your shot up there, you might see something looming in between the trees. And this is the post-war history of this crazy mountain, this devilish mountain. But first we have a little bit more climbing to do. So if you climbed all the way up and caught your breath again, then there is this muddy, or in summer of course dusty, path running all the way around this mysterious installation you see on top of the mountain. And this is a good opportunity for me to explain this installation a little. You have to imagine that after the Second World War, when a large percentage of the buildings in Berlin are left in rubble, they had, well, a problem. They needed to get rid of the rubble somehow. Now, there were several ways to do this, and all the cities in Germany had a different method of clearing the rubble and finding a way towards the future. For instance, Frankfurt did it in a whole different way. They reused and repurposed all of the rubble to crush it and use it again to rebuild the city. Now Berlin was far too large for that. There was far too much rubble, and there was also the situation of having the East and the West Allies and the Eastern Allies occupying the city and having very different ideas as to how the city was to be rebuilt. So they had to find a way to get this rubble out of the city, and they moved it here to this location because it had such a good connection with the city. It had several railroads, it had several highways, so very, very easy to bring all those millions of metric tons to this location outside of Berlin. And so they did. But so doing, this already 50-meter high mountain grew into a 120-meter high mountain. After they brought all this tonnage here and this mountain was created, the American NSA confiscated the land. They just said this is a very, very, very practical spot to build something which we of course call a top secret installation, but which was actually a spy station. It's confirmed after the Cold War that it literally was a spy station, because what would be more practical than to build a spy station right on the doorstep of the Soviets? Of course, the eastern part of the city was run by the Soviets. So the spy station on the doorstep of the Soviets could quite literally listen into the conversations that they wanted. They could tap into phone lines, they could tap into satellite traffic, they could tap into radio traffic and chatter. So it was a very valuable asset in the Cold War. But they also, of course, knew that this would be a prime target, would a conflict arise. So in a case of a conflict, this mountain, this installation, this radio station would be hit with several missile attacks and would be, well, devastated, wiped off the face of the earth. And it would be very difficult to find people to come and work here. So luckily they found parts of what was here before, because before the NSA built their installation, this was the military faculty of the university here in Berlin. And that meant that Hitler and the National Socialists already planned for this very event, and they did build a mythical bunker underneath the installation. This mythical bunker is of course debunked several times by several investigators, but this rumor is very, very fervent. It's almost impossible to imagine a Nazi university without a bunker. They always built bunkers to safeguard their students or their installations. So after a little bit of fiddling on Google Maps, trying to figure out what's and which is where, you find yourself on this location. We'll mark it on the map somewhere in the screen. And if you are on this location, this would be the place where a huge square building would arise out of the mountain, a complex, a campus of the Wehrtechnische Fakultät. That's a difficult word, which is actually sort of like the technical defense faculty of the university. They were training people here to invent new stuff, but also to maintain this highly militarized society after the Endsieg, the final victory of Hitler and his Third Reich. Should that all succeed, they would have built this enormous faculty, this campus here. They started construction already in 1934 with planning of this huge megalomaniac campus, but actually the Spedenstich, or the first stone, was laid in 1937 after the Olympics here, and it was, well, a grandiose plan. If you see it on the map, the size of this campus was huge. They, of course, had to stop construction in 1940 with the onslaught of the Second World War and money draining into offensive and defensive weaponization of society. There was no reason to build this faculty at that particular time. But he had every plan on fulfilling his idea of building this faculty. It was so important to him that at this Spatenstich moment, this laying of the first moment, the breaking of the ground ceremony, he held a speech in which he, for the first time, unraveled his idea of an imperial city of Germania. So, after the Second War, before the NSA confiscated the mountain, there was this plan by the British, because they found this Wehrtechnische Fakultät. They found this huge building, which was still under construction. So it was brand new, unfinished, very, very, very grandiose. It was built like a castle, and they found this building in their sector, and they had several plans to use it themselves. They wanted to make it into their headquarters because it's, well, the setting is absolutely gorgeous. It's on top of a 50-meter high hill. It is architecturally very, well, acceptable. This very typical fascist neoclassicism. And the only thing they had to do is finish it. However, they knew that a building like that, built by the double ministry of Albert Speer. I mean, Albert Speer was a minister of architecture, but he was also the minister of armament. So glorifying a building like that would open up for the new Nazi propaganda. You would never be able to get that out. So they taking that into effect, on top of the fact of the extortionately high cost of actually finishing one of these megalomaniac buildings, because Hitler's plans were based on the financial soundness of slave labor. Of course, the British didn't have much slave labor, so they had to pay for this building. And to pay for this building is just too expensive. So in the end, they decided to partially level the building, raise it to the ground, and the rest, such as this mythical bunker that's underneath, just leave it there and cover it up with the rubble of Berlin. And this is what they did. Well, it really is a mountain biking's Valhalla. So if you like mountain biking, you're coming to Berlin, don't forget to book a bike tour in the city with us, and then you go mountain biking here outside of the town. It is absolutely stunning. Murph, go get it. Go, 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 Asher, go, 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 go.